deal with 4 minutes early. Can you guys deal with 4 minutes early? I think we're on. Yes, we're on. We've been on for 6 seconds. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. Listen, guys, there's a lot of things happening in the world today. A lot of things happening leading towards global conflict on an industrial scale. I've been warning this for such a long time. You guys have been following me for such a long time. Here we are now on the precipice, on the cusp, looking at the hoop. That ball spurring around the hoop. And right, guys, look, I want to caveat this video by saying a few things. First of all, I want to see those hostages released and back with their families from the Middle East. I don't want to see any more blood. What I'm saying right now is peace in Gaza, peace between the Palestinians, the Gazans, and the Israelis. What that means is war with Iran. Why? You've got to look at the main stakeholder in Gaza. You've got to look at the main stakeholder in within Palestine. This is all to do with a trade route, an east-west trade route. This trade route was proposed between Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel. They proposed a trade route. With that trade route, if that trade route would have come online, Iran would have had zero influence in that region, guys, okay? And that's what it's all about. It's all about Iran. It's all about the Strait of Hormuz. It's all about trade, oil. But look, guys, let's just make one thing clear, okay? Let's hope that the hostages get released. Remember, this is a 3-phase operation. There's 3 phases to the peace negotiations in between Israel and Palestine, Israel and Gaza. Also, Keir Starmer has been out in India. He's been out in India, ladies and gentlemen. He's been out there in India, in Mumbai, I believe it is. Look, guys, India is a beautiful place. I like going to India. It's a great place. They have some good culture. I don't want Indian culture in the United Kingdom. I want Indian culture to stay in India, where I think it's best. We're going to be talking about that. Also, by you guys, popular request, I've had a lot of people sending me messages saying, Sean, are there Afghan special forces sending people to the United Kingdom? Do we have a force of Afghanis, ex-Afghan special forces trained by the British military, sending, part of this people smuggling gang? I spoke about this earlier on the live stream, guys, this morning. I'm not going to play the video again. What I'm going to do is real quick, before we get into the crux of this live stream, I messaged a few of you guys back. First of all, the term Afghanistan Special Forces is a very loosely fitting term. It could mean a whole host of things. Like many developing parts of the world, everybody wants to be special forces. I am from sniper reconnaissance, long-range reconnaissance background. Really, mate? Well, let me see you on the range. Yes, I cannot shoot target at 300 meters. It's too far away. Really? You just told me you're a sniper. Yes, but when I do sniper, it's more at like 10 meters in back garden. But I'm very good. I'm very accurate at 10 meters. So, we've got to take these things with a pinch of salt. From the video that I've seen that you guys have sent me, I've been sent it a few times. I don't see the credibility of that guy in the picture anyway. Again, like I say, I have to loosely fit, and we need to understand loosely that special forces is, how do I say this without getting the video banned? Afghan special forces would not be of the same criteria as British special forces. Afghan special forces would not be at the same criteria as American special forces. Afghan special forces would be more a par to the 105 Saudi Arabian mobile Mestin repair unit. That's where they would be at, guys. All right. So it's a loosely fitting title, Afghanistan Special Forces. That said, there has been a video out on mainstream media. Patrick Christie shared it. And look, guys, if Patrick's out there, just run it past me first, dude. Run it past me first, and I'll give you the lowdown. So I don't see that credible. I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm not saying, so let me be clear. I'm not saying that someone who served in the Afghan army is not part of this people smuggling gang. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, from the videos I've seen, certainly, if any of those Afghans had trained under me, I would be all over them, guys, like a wet rash, like saying, right, why you, literally, it's one of the first things I would have noticed, mate, why your magazines all skew whiffed? Oh, that's how I do them on my first one. I do this, and at night time, shut up, all right? That's not how it works, all right? You have them all facing the same way. There's no exception, all right? So from that, I question his credibility as Special Forces. Certainly not somebody I've trained. Certainly not somebody I've been through any of the people I've worked with training courses. So that's where I'm going with that, guys. Right, let's get on to this, guys. Where are we going first? Where are we going first? Are we going to... Are we going to peace in the Middle East, or are we going to war with Iran, or are we going to war with Russia? Where are we going first, guys? Because they're all connected. They're all connected, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, all these things are connected. Let's just talk about the Tomahawks, okay? So I actually bought a couple of Tomahawk steaks today. Probably going to do them on the barbecue on Saturday. So Tomahawks, are they going to Ukraine? Are they not going to Ukraine? So all of the news at the moment, there's varying, I don't know what's happening. It doesn't really matter. What I think will happen is they won't get them. Or if they do get them, and again, you know, people are, remember when the A1 Abrahams, oh, we're going to get A1 Abrahams, we're going to push the Russians back. Oh, as soon as we get these A1 Abrahams with the smoothbore barrels and the 105mm cannons, send you Russians backpacking. Yeah, that didn't happen. Okay. We need ATACMS. Right, okay, we'll give you ATACMS. Yeah, the ATACMS are not working. Right, okay, fair enough. Okay, all right, fine. Okay, what do you need now? We need F-16. We need F-16s. Right, okay, we'll give you F-16s. Are the F-16? No, the F-16s are not working. Right, okay. We need Tomahawk missiles. We need Tomahawk missiles. Right, okay, it's not going to work, guys, all right? The real weapon of mass destruction in this conflict, and I'm talking about the Russia-Ukraine conflict, is the mass push of men. The mass push of men, guys. I can remember when there were, I don't know if you guys can remember, there's a place called Vuldar. Is it Vuldar or Vuldar? In eastern Ukraine. And I can remember like doing live streams to you guys saying, yeah, they've encircled Vuldar, they've come from the north, they've come from the south, and they've pincered that and that, and you know, and Vuldar's being Vuldar or Vuldar. It's gone now. I can remember doing that live stream with you guys. Do you know how far in a straight line the Russian front line is pushed now consistently? Pop quiz. It's more than 69 kilometers and it's less than 71 kilometers. I'll leave the questions out to you guys. So, you know, when we're all trying to think of this new wonder weapon, look, guys, like any conflict, and I say this time and time again, all conflicts ultimately boil down to private soldiers with 5.56 and bayonets fixed, taking and breaking. That's what it all boils down to. And right now, the Russians are taking ground at a constant rate, and they're continuing doing that, guys. So 70 kilometers on that front line has been lost in the last, like, maybe 12 months or something. Now, trust me, guys, that's 70 straight kilometers, not square kilometers. Guys, trust me, that's a fucking lot. That is an absolute, that is fucking loads, right? So ultimately, the inevitability is that the Russians will take Ukraine. And the more people push back and the more people cease to seek diplomatic relations, and the more people cease to seek diplomatic relations, I don't know what a relution is, guys. I just made it up. Somebody tell me in the chat what a relution is. That gets the Russian, that is making the likelihood of boots on the ground in Poland higher. That's the reality, guys. Look, I don't care what anybody else says on any other platform. If it comes to war, tanks, guns, planes, trains, automobiles, I'm never wrong. I'm not wrong. I am never wrong. I am the all-seeing, all-dancing oracle of all known knowledge, guys, okay? I just wish I knew the stock market as well as I knew the battlefield. Unfortunately, I don't. So I'm here speaking to you for fine, ladies and gentlemen. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, can you like, comment, subscribe, bell notification? Stop skipping my ads. I know you guys, when you come on here on YouTube, you've got your finger over that thing for 5 seconds and you're like, yeah, Sean's not getting full money for that. I'm going to skip the shit out of him. Yeah, thanks, guys. Listen, guys, we're going to talk about this. So I'm going to come on to Israel Hamas right now. I'm calling it Israel Hamas. I don't know what I'm supposed. Look, I'm British, so I guess there's a Palestinian state. Even though I don't even know what that means, guys. I don't even know what that means. So I am going to come on to that first. So I want to give you guys a little bit of context, and I do want to run through this. There's a shit ton of information here, guys, okay? I am going to start this story. This story can go further back if you want. I am going to start this story. Raven will start the story in 1917. I will start this story, ladies and gentlemen, in 1917 with the Balfour Declaration. And you've got to understand the geopolitical spectrum at that time. We're not there anymore, unfortunately. But Britain was the world leader. 1917, Britain was the all-singing, all-dancing king of the motherfucking world, guys. We were. We built ships. Britannia ruled the world. Britannia will never be slaves. But we're going to enslave ourselves in 2025, and we're going to let people who we would normally, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. We are going to let people who would normally I'm not even going to say that, guys. We will let people enslave us, basically. Rule Britannia. Britannia rules the waves. Britain never shall be slaves until 2025, where we decide to enslave ourselves. But 1917, ladies and gentlemen, the Balfour Declarations. So Britain basically supported a national home for the Jewish people. That's what happened in 1917. Palestine, again, the whole thing is it's very difficult to try and navigate your way through because there's lots of different interpretations. But Palestine then, what we know as modern Palestine, was under the Ottoman occupation, and this was amid rising Jewish immigrants fleeing persecution in Europe. And guys, look, like it feels like I'm on like the opposite side. I'm on Britain's side. Guys. You know, I've got sympathy with all sides, but ultimately, if somebody's going to ask me what line in the sand I'm going to draw it behind my family and my, you know, so I'm just telling you guys what's happened previously. Skip forwards a little bit. You've got the 1947 partition plan. The UN proposed dividing the regions of Palestine up into Palestine and into a Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem, obviously huge religious significance, being internationalized. 1948, establishment of Israel was established. Israel declared independence, triggering the war with the neighboring Arab states. Again, guys, this whole region's been at war for a long time. Fast forward a little bit forward, 1968, you've got the 6-day war. Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza, Golan Heights, occupation deemed illegal under international law. The UN shaped modern peace efforts. There's been subsequent wars, 1982, 87, 2000. Obviously, you had is it intifadadas? Or is it intifadas? Intifadas, sorry, I did get that. I got there in the end, ladies and gentlemen. Intifadas. All sorts of crazy stuff happening. Then you had the Muslim Brotherhood. I think they came around. I can't remember when the Muslim Brotherhood came around. And they rejected. So the Muslim Brotherhood, basically, I think it was like 2000 and like, I want to say 2010, I think, for the Muslim Brotherhood. Guys, listen, when I give you guys these dates, a lot of they're from memory. So if I'm off, If I'm off by 10 years, just don't shoot the messenger, guys. These videos are for entertainment purposes, speculation, analysis, and opinion. Go check them out on Wikipedia. But I don't mean to mislead anyone. I think the Muslim Brotherhood came around 2000. I might even be wrong, guys. I might be 2011. Whatever. The Muslim Brotherhood rejected Israel's existence, and they took control. And then they took control of Gaza. Anyway. So a few peace agreements you've got the Camp David Accords, which were in 1979. You've got the Oslo Accords, which were 95. The Oslo Accords. I will be mentioning the Oslo Accords later, ladies and gentlemen, if I remember. You've got the 2002 Arab Peace Summit Initiative, I think it was. You've got the 2014 John Kerry initiative that failed as well. But what I want to do, guys, look, and the reason I'm giving you guys this information from the top, from the Raven Brain, I'm giving you guys this information so that you guys can understand that what's happening. And I know a lot of my followers don't really, they're more UK centric. But listen, guys, what's happening globally is going to drag everybody into this conflict. Believe me, guys, all right? This is going to drag everyone into the conflict, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward, and I just want everybody to understand the conflict, this conflict between Israel, Gaza, Israel, Palestine. It's been going on a long time, guys. There's a lot of complexities. And anyone who says to anyone, oh, Lamy, like David Lammy, who goes out there and pretends he understands the Middle East. Anyone who says they understand the Middle East do not understand the Middle East. There's always a different aspect, a different perspective, guys, right? There's so many different perspectives. So I'm going to fast forward now to the, excuse me. I'm going to fast forward real quick to October the 7th, 2023. So this was like 2 years ago, as of like a couple of days ago. Hamas-led militants attacked southern Israel, killing 1,200 people, mostly civilians, taking 251 hostages. Now, look, guys, let me just be quite clear. Let me be quite clear on this, right? I'm Team UK. I'm Team GB. I'm Team No War. I'm Team Space Travel and Technology. I really am, guys. That's where I am. That's where my passions and my excitements are. The scenes that we saw, and again, you go back and look through this. There's a lot of information out there. The scenes that we saw, and I'm not talking about the actual events. I'm talking about the surrounding events now. So 7th October 23. We saw, and again, you can go down those conspiracy rabbit holes. Oh, the Israeli government left a chink in the armor. Oh, it was this. Guys, I take those. What I want to talk about now is the reaction globally, from Muslims globally. Out on the streets, celebrating. If I was watching a few of these videos today, if I saw British military, British special forces out on the streets of some random country, transcending civilians into a beam of light, I would be horrified, deeply horrified, gut-wrenchingly in pain. That's how I would feel, guys, And if you watch the videos of the Hamas attack into Israel, people without a military background or without military, understanding, they think, oh, yeah, it was an attack because these guys attacked. No. When you're in the military, there's an unspeakable bond. There's an unspeakable language. You don't shoot non-combatants. It's just not the done thing, guys. It's not the done thing. So when I see these Hamas guys coming in on their little gliders, attacking civilians, like the one I'm thinking of now. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. There's a car, and the car just pulls up, and somebody just walks around, and he empties into them, and I'm like, what did that achieve? Like, what did that achieve? Like, militarily, where's your objectives there? You know. So, like I just said before, guys, right? If I was watching the news and I saw, you know what, and I saw British military attacking civilians, I would be disgusted. I would denounce them straight away, and under no circumstances would I be out on the streets celebrating. That's why I would just want to bring to everybody's like forefront. A military operation, I would think differently. If this was Hamas and they'd infiltrated the Israeli military and they were taking out military targets and government objectives, destroying radar domes, destroying drone facilities, blowing up runways, that's a military operation. That is a military operation. That's kind of how you roll. What we saw was under nobody can call that a military operation, guys. And if people call that a military operation, you kind of need to check if their mum and dad are not cousins. I'm just saying it, guys. All right, that's what you need to check. If anyone says to you that operation on the 7th of October 2023 was a military operation, you need to go and check that their mum and dad are not cousins. That's all I'm saying, guys. All right, it wasn't a military operation. All right. Anyway, so let me continue, guys, before I go on. So here we are today, guys. You know, the Israelis have given them a good, you know, I mean, look, guys, I'll give you some statistics in a minute. So, as we are today, ladies and gentlemen, and as I understand it, we are hours away from hostages being released. And honestly, guys, I promise you, from the bottom of my heart, as a father, you know, with two daughters, I hope that these hostages, each and every one of them, gets released from both sides, guys. Really, you know, like, we just let people go back to their families. Can we have peace? Can we start building spaceships instead of attacking each other? So as we are today, ladies and gentlemen, what we are, the 9th of October or something? I think it is the 9th of October. From the Palestinian side, now these are official numbers from the Gaza Ministry of Health. So you guys can take that with a pinch of salt if you want. 67,000 Palestinians have been transcended to a beam of light. 170,000 injured. That's on the. That's what the Palestinians, the Gazans are claiming. There's been an 80% destruction rate of Gaza. So 80% of Gaza has now been destroyed. You know, 80% of it. There have been several ceasefires that have failed. If you guys remember, in January, there was like a truce and like a prisoner swap. Lasted 2 months before the airstrikes started again. You know, both sides are blaming each other. I don't know. Honestly, guys, I don't have the information, the inside information to say, oh, these guys or these guys. I've got my suspicions. I don't have any information that I can say, oh, because of this happened. So the war has grown global scrutiny. Global scrutiny. Now, look, guys, when a conflict grows global scrutiny, if you guys want to know what the deal is, ask me. All right? Ask me. Don't listen to these half-baked politicians who know nothing about war, nothing about conflict, nothing about the Middle East. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, and I'm certainly not saying I understand the Middle East. What I am saying is I kind of know a lot about these conflicts. And what I will say before I talk about any half-baked politician bureaucrat talking about war, if you avoid a war at all costs, and this should be a mantra on the channel, especially when the aliens come, guys, because the aliens are coming, believe me, guys. I'll come on to that in a minute. Avoid wars at all costs. If you're in a war, You need to win that war, guys. You need to win that war. And by winning that war, you need to make sure your enemy do not rise up and attack you again. That's the whole purpose of going to war. Now, you could look at the United Kingdom as a good example of how not to do it in the conflict in Afghanistan. Right now, here in the United Kingdom, I watched a video today of a guy in a hotel in the UK in full Afghan military uniform telling people he's here as a soldier to take over Britain. So you could argue that Britain's 20 years in Afghanistan didn't really help, because now the Afghan soldiers are coming to Britain and fighting in Britain. You could argue that, guys. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to speculate that. I'm just saying some may argue that. Right, guys, I'm conscious about the time at the moment, and I've still got a lot to go through. Where do I go with this? Right, guys, I'm gonna go on to listen, guys. I got every comment this morning on TikTok, so I'm gonna jump over to YouTube, and I'm gonna start with the comments on YouTube, guys. Okay, so look, guys, we are triple streaming this morning. I'll just throw some out. Jules has joined. Hi, Jules. Can I say it says click there? Do I click that? Oh, I can wave at you. I can wave at people. Scotty has joined. I'm waving. Oh, I'm waving at everyone here, guys. I'm waving at everyone. Right, hang on. Right, okay, waving. Guys, I'm going on a wave spree here. Wave. Ria's joined. Right, guys, listen, welcome everyone that's joined. We are triple streaming today, guys. I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on X. I am going to start with the questions on YouTube first. After that, I'm just conscious of the time, guys, okay? After the questions on YouTube, I'm going to come on to the three... Yeah, I was drinking before. I'm going to come on to the 3 phases of Donald Trump's peace plan, all right? And we're going to talk about that. But we are literally hours away from potentially seeing the first hostages released. So, hang on. Okay. Right, so Debbie Doobs is saying there is rumours the 3 remaining have settled their differences and they may do something together, but not holding my breath. I don't know about. I wouldn't know about that. Tilly Gallardi is saying, have you ever trained with the IDF? Believe it or not, Silly Gallardi, yes, I have, but in Ukraine. The Israeli Defense Force went over to Ukraine to do some urban warfare with the Ukrainians. I was there as an advisor on the Ukrainian side, and so I haven't done any actual training with that. I was more of an I was in more of an advisory role. So yeah, like yes and no, I guess. Well, I don't. What do we mean by trained? I've never actually done any combat training with the Israeli Defense Forces, but I've certainly been with the Israeli Defense Forces when they've been training the Ukrainians, and I was standing back on the Ukrainian side, working for the Ukrainian government as an advisor to the Ukrainian government, saying, yeah, this is going to work, this is not going to work. Because remember, guys, okay, a tactic that works for one country will not work for another country. You know, there's a lot of different spectrums in, like, you know, when people say, who's got the best special forces? And you say, what do you mean special forces? Oh, we want the best with like the best night vision goggles. And what does that even mean? What does that even mean? What do you mean by special forces? Oh, the specialist. What does special mean, guys? What does special mean? We spoke about this with the Afghan special forces. It's a very loosely fitting concept. From now, he's saying, Gary Neville Holmes, lots of hotels. I wonder if he's homing migrants. I don't know, guys. I think a lot of these football players, a lot of these, like, look, guys, Gary Neville, didn't he miss all those penalties, or was that his brother? Gary Neville, you know, he's obviously a wealthy man, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He can kick a ball of wind. Like, The way Gary Neville is able to kick a ball of wind, that's fantastic. And all you guys that go and pay your money to see people like Gary Neville kicking those bags of wind, more power to you. Literally, more power to you. You guys are fantastic. Go and spend all your money watching those grown men in their underwear kicking that bag of wind. I think it's fantastic, guys. I really do. And chant really hard. United! United! And have your little chants and your little war cries and go support Gary Neville. If your daughters are getting raped and your communities are getting disrupted and your church is being burnt down, don't worry about that. That's not important. What is important, ladies and gentlemen, is those guys kicking that bag of wind. Don't worry about your little girls going to school. They don't matter. They don't matter. Doesn't matter about our girls going to school. What really matters is those guys on that little bit of grass running really fast in their little shorts and their little boots and kicking that ball really hard. And I know Gary Neville, he's like a real good kicker. He can kick that ball so hard, guys. He can kick that ball so hard. I'm not a big fan of football. I'm not a big fan of football, guys. So look, guys, a lot of these people, these celebrities, they live in a bubble. They live in a bubble in a mansion, and they don't see what we see. They don't see things on the ground. I grew up in Rotherham, guys, in the 90s, and let me tell you, it was wild. So yeah, I don't really give much consideration to these football players, guys. You know, football players, celebrities, actors. I don't know. Do we have it girls anymore? Do we have it girls? I don't know what's taken over from it girls. You know how we had like Jordan. Like, what has she, like, you know that Katie Price story? What has she actually done with, what has she actually done? I don't know. What was that other one? With she had like a weird nose. She had like a book. What's her name? I want to say Geordie, but that's, I don't know. Jodie Marsh. Do we have it girls anymore, guys? Do we have them? What do those do? And why do people listen to their opinions? Footballers, actors, celebrities, politicians, their opinion counts for nothing, ladies and gentlemen. It counts for nothing. My opinion counts for everything because I've been there, I've done that. I know the people, I know the culture, I know the dynamics. Right, oh, hang on, guys. Karma Creepy Queen, thank you for becoming a member on YouTube. Thank you so much, Karma Creepy Queen. I hope you, like all the members, I hope you, Karma Creepy Queen, are going to become a powerful member on our community. And I hope you're going to give some powerful insight into whatever it is that makes you tick. So welcome, Karma Creepy Queen. Welcome. Thank you so much for your, thank you so much. Anyway, right, guys, where are we? I've got lots of... Freddie is just saying TikTok. Right, I need to jump. Okay, so Freddie is saying, look at TikTok. And I've got Trump declares peace in the Middle East. Right, guys, let's all calm down. Let's all be sober. Let's all be sober. Let me Google this. Is there peace in the Middle East? I would speculate not. I told you he was hours away, didn't I? I'm not getting anything here. Is this recently? I'm not getting anything on the mainstream media, and I would expect that will be all over the place. Oh, 18 minutes ago. Right, okay. Hang on, guys. Let me get this up. 18. Click! By the beard of Zeus and Odin's eye. Why does the little circle always go round when I'm in a rush? Trump declares peace in the Middle East. Gaza ceasefire to begin Friday with Gaza ceasefire to begin Friday. Okay, straight away. Why not now? Okay, I've got question marks, guys. Look, ladies and gentlemen, look, guys. I've been in this business longer than Donald Trump has. I know that sounds wild, but I have. I've been in the business of the Middle East a lot longer than Donald Trump has. Oh, and there's a lot of question marks, right? So the headline here is coming out, and I will give it the due. The headline is Trump declares peace in the Middle East. All right, so that's the headline. I'll read you the first bit, and then I'll give you guys my analysis. Gaza ceasefire to begin Friday. Remember what we said on Fridays? With hostages freed early next week, says president after Israel and Hamas agree to his deal. Donald Trump has declared peace in the Middle East and announced that hostages will be freed early next week after Israel and Hamas sign a deal to end the war. Okay, guys, look, let's be sober about this. Let's look at the historic. Let's look at the history of this conflict, all right? Dating going back to 1917. You can go back further if you want. I'm not convinced, although that is the headline that's out at the moment. And look, guys, you know, to be brutally honest, if the hostages get released, it's a tick in the box for me. You know, it really is. It really is a tick in the box. Lions is saying, does this mean the Palestinian marchers will stop? Please, God. I would say no, those Palestinian marchers won't stop because they will want something else. Now, this is my speculation, opinion, belief, analysis. These Palestinian marchers, I need to be careful about what I say here because I don't want to be unfair to anyone. These people that go on these marches, they always want something. They always want something. And when you give them what they want something else. Like it started off as Black Lives. It started off as Antifa. We're against fascists. Okay, right. Now, Antifa are Black Lives Matter. Right, okay, so you're Black Lives Matter. Right, okay. Now you're pro-Palestine. Right, okay, now there'll be something else. There'll be another movement. There always is. And directly to you, Lions, a lot of these... A lot of the people that are going to these protests, especially the pro-Palestine marchers, they are people who don't understand what's happening. They're being told a very narrow version of history. And like everything, guys, you know, there's always two sides of every story. I've given you guys the scenario before where you're looking at there's a cylinder in a room, and there's one guy at one side, and then because the shadow is pointing on the wall, he's saying it's a circle. And then there's the guy at the other side, and he's saying, no, it's a square. And both of them are right because it's a cylinder. So he's seeing a circle and he's seeing a square. The problem is because those guys don't come together and talk and say, hey, do you know what? Oh, yeah, that's a cylinder. We now understand each other's perspectives. We were both right and we were both wrong because we now have a different perspective. A lot of these people, they're being gaslit into going to these protests. And that's just the reality, guys, you know. And a lot of the people that get arrested, I was seeing this, like old women getting arrested. They don't even know what they're getting arrested for. It's quite funny, actually. Right, guys, listen. I'm just conscious of the massive time going, like, blasting down. Right, I'm just realizing the time, guys. So I'm going to give you real quick. I'm going to give you the 3 phases of Donald Trump's peace plan. I'm going to try and run through these as quickly as possible. And then we're going to talk about the war in Ukraine. Because don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that is still there and it's still moving forward. So phase 1, I guess Donald Trump saying this could be agreed because this could have already been agreed. At the time of writing this had not already been agreed. So I'm going to have to caveat phase 1. Phase one would be an immediate ceasefire and exchange of hostages. This would mean a full ceasefire. I have question marks whether a full ceasefire can actually hold. Guys, look, remember this ceasefire, Donald Trump is claiming peace in the Middle East. There's going to be a ceasefire tomorrow. I don't know why it's not now. Let's just see if the ceasefire holds, okay? Let's see if the ceasefire holds. It would mean that Hamas releases all the living hostages and all the bodies of the unalive hostages. Again, I've got massive question marks about those unalive hostages. I don't know if all those bodies are going to be there. I've even got question marks about the living hostages. Israel will release, I think, like 600 Palestinian prisoners. Then there's like these little lines. Israel's going to withdraw and let in aid trucks to Gaza with no restrictions. That's phase one. Phase two will be the transitional government. Enter Tony Blair with a little evil plan. So that means Tony Blair is going to go in there. He's going to be the leader in the Middle East. Tony Blair, good old Tony Blair is going to kick in there. Hamas disarms, steps aside, and there's an amnesty for Hamas. Gaza has to be demilitarized. Now, look, guys. Again, I'm not convinced these things can happen. I'm really not convinced these things can happen. I'm not convinced the Palestinians, the Gazans can demilitarize. I just don't see it, guys. I really don't see it. If they do demilitarize, I think that's a good thing. But, we'll see what happens. Ultimately, the Gazans, the Palestinians, the Gazans, Hamas, they've been beaten. They have been absolutely beaten. So this, to me, kind of reads a little bit like a surrender deal. Just to be conscious, guys, okay? There's an international board of peace. Trump's going to be in charge, but you know who's going to be in charge of the reconstruction? Yeah, Tony Blair. Tony Blair's in charge of reconstruction. So Tony Blair's going to be there. Tony Blair is going to be there doing his little Tony Blair thing. And look, guys, whether you agree with it or not, I'm giving you the facts. Phase three would be long-term stability. I don't think we're ever going to get here, guys. I don't think we're going to get to phase two, but look, I'm going to give you the phases. Phase three is long-term stability, full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, no West Bank annexation. There's a load of other stuff on there, but that's, in a nutshell, that is, that's what it is, guys. They're the three phases. Right. Guys, listen, I've got a lot to get through. There is not a chance in Dilly to Swell that I'm going to be able to get through everything now, because that took up quite a lot of time. That took up a lot more time than I expected. So, peace, World War III, war with Russia. It's all connected, guys. And look, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, peace between Israel and Gaza means war with Iran. Because remember, guys, it's all about trade, it's all about oil, it's all about money. There was a trade route planned. I'm not sure the name. I think it was called the East-West trade route. There was a trade route planned, a land corridor planned from Saudi Arabia through Jordan, through Israel to the Mediterranean. That would have 100% cut out Iran's influence in that region. So if you guys want to visualize, Iran controls the Persian Gulf, or that way for you guys. Iran controls the Persian Gulf. So if you think now Iran has lost all its influence in that region, of course you're looking at, global conflict on an industrial scale. They're going to lose a ton of money. Their whole economy is built on oil. Now, if they can't dictate who sends what to where, they have no influence in that region. They're going to be as insignificant as Keir Starmer at a geopolitical meeting. They're going to have no influence. Right, guys, I'm going to get some questions on YouTube. Listen, guys, Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. We are on YouTube, we are on X, and we are on TikTok, guys, okay? I will be doing the first part of this video on with TikTok, YouTube, and X. I will then close this down, and I will just be streaming on YouTube and X. What we're talking about now, guys, is the proposed peace deal in the Middle East, World War III, war with Russia, and the lines in the sand have been drawn. And I'm going to come on to that in a second. Endeavour to Preserve is saying, in order for President Trump's Gaza golf course to be built, Hamas is to disarm. I'm not considering that. I don't think they're going to disarm, guys. I really don't. I don't see how that's going to work. You know, because if you look at it from the side of Hamas, you know, they're going to claim that if we disarm, we're going to get overrun. Equally, you've got to look at it from the Palestinian side and say, listen, we're going to get overrun anyway, whether we disarm or not. So our last chance is to like surrender. And I think what we may actually be seeing here is peace by superior firepower. And I don't know, guys, look, if you're in the comments, can you tell me when, other than by superior firepower, when you get peace? Because as far as I'm concerned, you only get peace by superior firepower. That's the only, you know, the only way you get peace is by superior firepower. Silly is saying Europe is going to be full of Gazans soon. Good luck. Potsinator is saying, I give it a week or less, to be honest. Yeah, I would go with that. I would go with that as well. 10 MB UK is saying there's 20 prisoners that are still alive. So look, guys, with a prisoner release, it's like on a human level, not like me talking strategy and tactics and do not negotiate with terrorists. On a human level, I want all those hostages to be back with their families where they belong. Amir Cricket is saying the day Islam believe in peace would come would be full of 100% Muslims. The day Islam believe peace would come is the world full of... Okay, so I think what Amir Cricket is saying, it is, again, I'm just repeating what I think this is. So Amir here is saying the day Muslims believe that the only day peace will come is when everybody is Muslim. But, you know, there's lots of wars between Muslims. Muslims fight among each other more than anyone, guys. Trust me. Right, ladies and gentlemen, look, guys, I am not in a million years going to be able to get the rest of this done. I would have to be on for another hour and a half at least. Right, I'm going to try and really condense this now, guys. I'm going to talk about Keir Starmer's, because it's all connected. I'm going to real quick try and talk about Keir Starmer's trade mission to India, or his visit to India. Where do I start with this? Okay, right. So Keir Starmer at the moment is out in India. They're doing like, I don't know, stuff. Maybe some Ukrainian models are involved. I don't know. India, guys, all right? It has always been, I've always said this, all right? India is a key country when we're looking at a global conflict of an industrial scale, because India has the production capacity. And we're moving into a global conflict of a war on industrial scale. You need stuff. You need to be able to produce stuff. And India right now, maybe this decade, maybe next decade, India will overtake China for the world's production facility. That will happen, guys. Be under no illusion. That will happen. China have a stagnated birth rate because if you guys can remember, China had one child. It was brutal. China had a one-child policy, absolutely backfired on them. So normally a population goes like this, where you get more people at the bottom, and then as people die, you get less people at the top. China has like a bell curve at the moment because you've got this gap in the middle of like 40-somethings, people who are 40-something, like late 70s, early 80s, where people were only allowed to have one child. So now you're having this population cull, I guess. You're having not a population cull, you're having a population drain. So now you're having less people to fill those jobs. So China's economy is going to go, whoo, real quick, guys. It's going to happen so quick. Anyway, we're talking about India. So direct discussions, guys. They've been talking about they've been talking about a lot of stuff. They've been talking about missiles. They've been talking about defense. They've been talking about the economy. They've obviously been talking about the war in Russia, the war in Ukraine. Keir Starmer's been banging the drum. The anti-Putin drum, which, you know, I believe it needs to be banged, bunged or whatever. What I just want to say here, guys, and I totally appreciate, like, I could go on about this for maybe like another 45 minutes or something. If India sides with Russia, Russia are almost certainly going to win. If India side with the West might have a chance. And I'm talking about now the West by NATO minus the United States. And it's all about production capacity. Doesn't matter how special your special forces guys think they are. It doesn't, guys. And I'm speaking of someone here with a lot of experience in this area, guys. Okay, doesn't matter how special doesn't matter how special your special forces guys think they are. What, maybe 200-300 special forces guys broken down into teams of 4? How many teams have you got realistically? Teams on leave, teams at home, teams training other countries. Yeah, they might be awesome at like doing real good special forces stuff. When you need the big bomb, you need the bigger bomb, big munition, drop heavy amount of explosives. Yes, one bomb, get job done. Yes, very good. You know, that's the kind of stuff you need. We are not going to need a load of Andy McNabs with their little poo-poos. Poo, 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 poo. And look, guys, I'm saying this as someone who's done that role. That sort of stuff was Afghanistan. That sort of stuff was Iraq. That sort of stuff was Northern Ireland. That sort of stuff was the Gulf War. You know, what we're heading towards now as Britain, and a lot of the generals, colonels, commanders, air vice marshals, naval, I don't even know, admirals, you know, they don't understand this. Look, guys, just for context, if you guys want to know how much I understand these conflicts and how I'm never wrong, a few months ago, I did a video and I was talking about asymmetric naval warfare. I know I did that video because I watched it again like yesterday or something. The video is a bit, you know, I was in the cellar. Anyway, but in that video, the content, what I'm saying is absolutely correct. What I was saying in that video, it might have even been last year, actually. I've done a few. Asymmetric naval warfare. What I've been saying is the real threat from the seas is not from these blue ships that are beautifully painted and have got all the radars and the close air support phalanx cannons and the lasers, and we've spent this many millions on this laser, or we've spent this many millions on this electromagnetic. No, the real threat is going to come from civilian shipping vessels. I said that. I know I said that because it's online. You guys can go check that out. All the stuff I say is public record. You literally just scroll through and search on my profile on YouTube. You put naval, you'll get, or naval warfare. You'll get a load of videos. And in that video, I'm warning that the next threat is going to come from civilian shipping vessels, whereby missiles or drones are launched from civilian shipping vessels and then they strike military targets. How do you deal with that? Like, literally, how do you deal with that? Are you going to strike that ship back? You're going to strike that ship back. It's in somebody else's territorial waters because it's docked, waiting to get into dock. Well, that's not going to work. You know, you're going to have a diplomatic nightmare, and all your evidence is going to sink. Okay, right. So you're going to deploy special forces to seize that ship. Okay, as soon as those special forces get seen, they're just going to throw the stuff overboard and say it's not ours. So, like, how do you deal with that? You can't. You literally can't deal with that. Turns out from a few mainstream media outlets, Zelensky's claiming that the Russians are now launching drones from oil tankers. Who'd have thought I knew what I was talking about here, ladies and gentlemen? That's why you guys are here. You guys are here for real-time speculation, analysis, and my personal insight, which is what I'm giving you guys, okay? So that is happening. So when I talk about India, guys, India and Turkey, both of them, they're both equally as important. Turkey's in a really strategic location. Turkey is predominantly a Muslim, well, it is a Muslim country. Turkey's a Muslim country, and yet it's part of NATO, which puts it in a very peculiar position. I think Turkey's the only country that spans 2 continents. So, you know, India, Turkey, looks like India is Team NATO, although to be fair, guys, India are still claiming political ambiguity. Am I saying that? Ambiguity? What am I trying to say, guys? They're saying they're not choosing sides. They're saying they're staying neutral. So the broader implications, guys, what I'm trying to get at here is when we talk about India, when we talk about Russia, when we talk about the war in Ukraine, and again, guys, I'm just conscious of the time. I could go on for this for about probably another half an hour at least, just monologuing. That conflict right now, it is a war on an industrial scale. And the problem we have in the West, is we have colonels, generals, I don't know, air vice marshals, admirals, who are thinking how to fight the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq. Let me tell you, mate, that shit's over. It's done. It's finished. It's not coming back. Done. We're good. This is where we need to be thinking now. And it's of an industrial scale. And, you know, things like standardization, things like mass producing, things like green military. Because, look, guys, you know, we all want to have these fantasies about, you know, special forces guys being able to, like, climb up drain pipes with, like, a thing in their mouth with a little night vision goggles. It's not like that. You know, that's not the world. The reality is, guys, okay, peace in any peace deal with Gaza in the Middle East, that's going to lead the likelihood of an all-out conflict with Iran higher because of those trade deals that we were talking about, the land corridor through Saudi Arabia to Jordan, Israel. The lines in the sand, I believe, are being drawn now with India. Lines in the sand are being drawn with the United Kingdom, obviously. You know, I think it's pretty obvious where the United Kingdom stands. You know, but what you've got to understand is all these things are connected, guys. They're all connected. Let's not pretend they're not. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you guys on TikTok have been fantastic. I am going to jump over to YouTube now. I'll be streaming on YouTube for a little bit longer. I'm going to run to the toilet as soon as I've closed you guys down now on TikTok. But listen, guys, if you are not going to jump over to YouTube, I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, I'm the Real Raven 1 on X, and I'm the Real Raven 1 on TikTok. If you guys are not going to jump over, then I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. And I will give another update on the Middle East because I do think more information is going to come out through the night about what's been happening in the Middle East. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close you guys down on TikTok. Then I'm going to go for a wee, and then I'm going to be back on YouTube. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Oh, hang on. Where is that? Maybe I'll close you guys down. Maybe I won't. Yeah, I think right, guys, I'm going now. I'll see you. If you're not going to jump over to YouTube, I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. If you're not going to jump over, guys, I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. We are off, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are off. Right, let me get some. I'll get the most recent comments, and then I really do need to go for a wee, guys. Give me a second. Situational awareness. Look for the fire exits. Yeah, that's what I think. Amir Cricket is saying, thank you, Raven. Bless you. And thank you, people of the UK. Oh, don't worry about it, Amir Cricket. Just purely for entertainment purposes, how would David Lammy do on the para selection course? I think there's a drone flying outside. Give me a second, guys. This is fucking mad. Oh. Okay, so just to let everyone know, it wasn't a drone. It was some like kids in the field on like two-stroke cross bikes. I just thought it was a drone. Anyway, so It's a Dog's Life is saying, just purely for entertainment purposes, how would David Lammy do on the parachute regiment selection course? Well, to get on to even get on the parachute regiment selection course, you need to be able to run 1.5 miles in under 9 minutes. So, 9.5 minutes. So I don't think he could run 9.5 minutes. I don't think David Lammy could run 1.5 miles in under, under 9.5 minutes. I just don't see him, like his body shape and the way, I don't think he could run that. I don't think he could do that. I don't think he's ever been able to do that. So you have to do 10 miles carrying 16 kilos. You have to be able to run 10 miles carrying 16 kilos in 1 hour 50, I think it is. 1 hour 50. You have to do a lot of other tests. I don't think he'd get up to starting blocks, to be honest. Slim is saying, was it aliens? It was not aliens, but I do sometimes wish and hope that the aliens, hopefully the aliens get here. Right, let me close that. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, right, I just want, like, when we're talking about peace in the Middle East, when we're talking about all these things that are happening around the world, they're all connected, and every country is playing its part. What's happening in the Middle East right now with Gaza, Israel, Palestine, whatever you want to call it, in my opinion, speculation, it's got everything to do, as brutal as this sounds, it's got everything to do with trade routes. There was a proposed trade route and I think it was going to come online like November 23. Obviously, with the attack, it didn't. So there was a proposed trade route. So if you guys think of the Middle East, you've got like Gaza. You've got like Gaza. Sorry, you guys. You've got Gaza here on the Med. You've got Israel, obviously, on the Med, and then you've got Lebanon. Then you've got Jordan, and then you've got like Saudi Arabia, like down that way. Well, the Saudi Arabians have proposed is from the Persian Gulf, what they proposed is rather than shipping the oil all the way around and up, what they proposed is a railroad, so a land corridor where they could ship goods and merchandise by rail from, I guess, Saudi Arabia all the way through Jordan, through Israel to the Mediterranean. Now, that in itself, because of the proximity, would have made the Palestinians, the Gazans, it would have given them money. Because ultimately, when people find a way of earning money, they don't want to transcend themselves into a beam of light. Now, Iran was the main funder of what's going on in Gaza. So if this trade route had have come online, that would have just totally stopped any influence that Iran has in that region. So, for example, Iran can threaten Iraq, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, can threaten everyone with closing the Strait of Hormuz. Absolutely fine. Threaten us with the Strait of Hormuz. We're just going to go through Saudi Arabia. It's absolutely no problem. And over time, that trade route through Saudi Arabia, I believe that would have been a more profitable trade route. So that's what I think's at stake here, guys. It's a huge trade route. Hang on, let me get some questions. Claire Price is saying, now I'm getting songs in my head. Silly Galadi is saying Iran and Qatar. Okay, so Silly Galadi is saying Iran and Qatar are the ones who would have been cut out of the influence in that region. John is saying, bang on, Sean, exactly what my friend and I was saying nearly 2 years ago, but everybody else dismissed it simply because they went with whatever social media was telling them. Yeah, you've got to understand, guys, when I talk about these things, and this is why I have I have massive disrespect for people who say that the 7th of October attack on Israel was a military operation. I just think, right, if anybody says that to you, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just going with, oh, yeah, it's a military operation. It's not a military operation. It's a massacre. It's, a military operation. So, for example, let's just go, and I don't want to, let's just say that on the 7th of October, the Palestinians would have gone into Israel, not attacked any civilians, not taken any hostages, and only attacked military targets, taken down radar domes, destroyed airfields, destroyed aircraft, destroyed tank facilities. That would have been a military operation. That is a military operation. What we saw kind of wasn't, guys. It was kind of disgusting. It was vile. And, and look, guys, just for context, those people that were out on the street celebrating, and there were, in the United Kingdom, I'm ashamed to say, there were people waving, oh, what a brilliant thing the Palestinians have done. That's fine. That's on, absolutely fine. You're welcome to your opinion. What I'm saying is, first of all, that wasn't a military operation. That was a massacre. It's kind of like sorry, guys. What I'm getting at here is, there was a lot of people out on the street who just don't have any idea what's happening. And they're being told that this is a military operation. And it's clearly not. And as far as I'm concerned, if I saw images or footage of British military going into, I don't know, wherever, and execute. You guys have seen the footage. If I saw images and footage of British military going into civilian locations, you know, doing that sort of stuff, I would be absolutely outraged and sickened. And under no circumstances would I want to celebrate that. But, you know, that happened. They did. They came out. They celebrated. You know, we've just got to understand that, you know, I don't think these people should be blocked or deplatformed. I think it's good that they have the platform because we can see who they are, you know, and that's the reality of that situation, guys. And I get it. You know, there's people out there, you know, there's conspiracy theorists. And look, guys, the conspiracy theorists are right a lot of the time saying that this was planned. It was planned by the Israelis, and, you know, and the Israelis closed down the security or whatever. I don't know about that. What I do know is what I saw in the United Kingdom, and what I do know is that what the footage that I saw, and that footage that I saw, nobody made those people do that, and it's quite brutal, the footage, guys. If you guys want to go and look at it. Lisa Milbank is saying, what's the latest in Ukraine? Right, Lisa, I have been, listen, Lisa, I'm really conscious of the time. What I'll do is tomorrow morning, I will do a Ukraine special. Tomorrow morning, I will do a Ukraine special. I will answer the question for you, Lisa. I went on, I didn't realize how long it was going to take, talking about the Middle East, Gaza, the conflict going back to 1917. I'll tell you what I said earlier. I can remember when, like, it only seems like a couple of months ago, I did a video and I said, yeah, the Russians have just taken, is it Voldahar? Let me Google this, guys, because I need to, do you know what? I'll show you, Lisa. Lisa, I will actually show you. Give me a second. Thank you for asking, Lisa. And with the power of media, I am going to show you. So give me a second to find this. Right. Right. Difficult to do it with this one because the cursor doesn't hold it. Right. There we are. Right. Where's Voldahar? Right. Right. I'm going to share this with you now. I'm going to share this screen with you now, guys. So Lisa is asking, what's the latest in Ukraine? I was going to go into this in a little bit more depth. I wasn't going to touch the map. I was going to tell you guys what's been happening in Ukraine. But guys, look, like I say all along, all these weapons, all these tanks, it doesn't make any difference. The Russians are taking ground every day. There's no one weapon going to stop things. The way that this is going to get stopped, like every conflict, it is going to boil down to private soldiers with 5.56 or 5.45 with bayonets fixed and grenades. That's what it's going to boil down to. But let me share this screen with you guys real quick. So Lisa, when I can remember a while ago, I was doing a video, and if you look at where my cursor, is now, Vulder, that region there, basically. I can remember when that region had just been taken by the Russians, and I was saying, oh yeah, they've taken Voldahar now, and they're on their way to Pokrovsk. So like Pokrovsk is like there. Oh no, it's not actually, it's there. You know, they're on their way to Pokrovsk. They're going to come around the south. They're going to come around the north. Look at the ground that's been taken now, as far as the Russians are concerned. Now, this is the whole. You know, I'm just giving you guys a little snapshot here. So I'm just giving you guys. So obviously, that's Ukraine there. Let me just zoom back in. No, I've lost Voldahar. Where is it there? So if I'm just going to get the map, I'm going to get the ruler here, and we're going to see how far, you know, let's just say Voldahar is there, and that's the front line. 58. So since I did that, you guys can be able to find it on YouTube. So since I did that video, the Russians have pushed forwards almost 60. Would you guys go with 60 kilometers? It's 50. It says 58.3, but you know, the Russians have pushed forward. Call it 60. Do you know what? Call it 50 kilometers. It doesn't matter. Call it 60 kilometers. The Russians have pushed forwards. They've not been pushed back. In no location on this front line of the Russians being pushed back. So, excuse me. So when people say what's happening in Ukraine, it's the same. The Russians are pushing forwards every day. And all these new, oh, we're going to get this missile. Oh, we're going to get that missile. Oh, we're going to get this tank. Oh, we're going to get this airplane. They need more men. They need more men. And unfortunately, there are none. There are those that live in the cave. We can't get the cave army, Aragon. It's not Lord of the Rings. Yeah, so I will do a standalone on I'll do a standalone on Ukraine in the morning. I'm jumping down again, guys. Lots of comments. Claire Price is saying the dark web is not worth it. What are you guys talking about? Listen, guys, I do not condone the dark web. It was only a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't actually know what the dark web was. I just thought when people were talking about the dark web, I just thought they meant like dodgy websites or something. Honestly, I was fascinated. I don't even know how to access it. I was fascinated that there is an internet that runs like parallel to the internet, and you need certain software to access it. I was like, what? Shut up. He's like, no, it's like a thing. Endeavour to Preserve is saying NATO will not help stop Russia. NATO minus the United States will not do. Okay, NATO minus the United States. So we're talking about like Europe now. The way they're structured right now, they can't stop the Russians. They don't have it in them. Don't have it in them, guys. J200 is saying Germany, Australia, Finland, Sweden, Norway help as well in Ukraine. Yes, they do indeed. Germany is a massive supplier. I think Germany is the biggest supplier of armor. Australia, I'm not really sure what Australia do. I know Finland give a lot of drones. Finland and Sweden Sweden gives a lot of money to research and development. Norway are looking at a lot of air defense because, is it Norway? No, Finland, sorry, Finland. Well, I guess Norway, a little one. Finland have a massive land border with Russia. So I know Finland are very concerned about their borders as well. J200 is saying it's on the news 2026, France going to Ukraine soon. UK help when it kicks off. Look, it's already there. It's already happening. The Russians are not stupid. The Russians know who's in Ukraine. The Russians have got their spies. They've got people who work for them, sending encrypted messages here and there. And I'd say the Russians have got their spies in Europe, in the United Kingdom as well. Donna Hogan is saying China sharpening forces for a possible future attack on Taiwan. Yeah, I think that's going to come, but I think that's more like 2027 when the weather's better. Oh, what just happened there? From Now is saying apparently French hospitals. Yeah, so all French hospitals. I saw it that all French hospitals are having to get ready for a conflict, to get ready to take wartime casualties. Karma Creepy Queen, is that you in the picture? And have you got a tattoo on your Karma Creepy Queen, is that you in the picture? And have you got a tattoo on your left eye? And what does it say? Karma Creepy Queen is saying, I thought that was a drone. What's your reaction back? That was Brill. No, I did. I thought it was a drone. I heard a 2-stroke motor, and I was like, is there a fix? Is there a Shahid outside my house? Has Putin finally sent one to take me out? Hang on, I'm just jumping down. Right, listen, guys, I am going to close this down now. I am getting ready to close this down now. I am going to be on tomorrow morning, and I am going to do a Ukraine special. Tomorrow morning is going to be the day you guys have all been waiting for. Tomorrow morning, I am going to do a Ukraine special. I'm going to focus on everything Ukraine. I'm going to talk about the war in Ukraine. I'm going to talk. How many hundreds of years do you guys want me to go back, guys? How many hundreds of years do you want me to go back? I'm going to give you a history. I'll probably start at 2013 because that's when we really want to start it. I'm going to start from 2013. I'm going to tell you what happened 2013, 2014, 2022. I'm going to tell you what's happening now. I'm going to tell you the state of dynamics. I'm going to tell you weapon developments. I'm going to tell you guys drone warfare. I'm going to tell you guys geopolitical structuring. I'm going to tell you guys everything. And I'm also going to leave that video and I'm going to articulate why, although I think you guys have just seen, I'm going to articulate why NATO, as it's structured right now without the United States, is not in a win situation against Russia. And for everybody who's like, oh, Russia's done, Russia's finished, Russia's over. You guys literally just saw the war map, right? Like, you guys saw that. So, okay, Russia's finished, Russia's done, Russia's over, Russia's gone to bed. They're still taking ground every day, and the Ukrainians are not pushing them back every day. That's happening, but they're done. They're done. They're done. Okay, they're done. You know, that's fine. That's fine. They're done. They're not done. They're taking ground every day. And while here in the West, we're just like thinking about we're trying to develop like a wonder weapon. We're trying to develop this new thing, and what we don't understand is this battlefield is so vast and so big. We need more men. The Ukrainians need more men, or they're going to fail. That's the reality, guys. And for those of you guys who just watched the video, I don't know if you're just joining for the first time. And if you've not done so already, guys, or if you're joining for the first time, please hit the buttons down below. Like, follow, comment, subscribe, bell notification, all those things that help this channel grow, guys. I'm on every morning at 10, every evening at 8. Tomorrow morning, I'm doing a Ukraine special. What I'm getting at there is, guys, if you just watched the video where we're showing you guys the war map, 60 kilometers from a country that's done doesn't sound like the country's done. Or does it? Maybe it does. Yeah, we finished those. We're done. We're on the retreat, but we're just going to take this last 60 kilometers and we're going to keep taking ground every day. Oh, that doesn't sound like you're done. Yeah, we're done. We're finished. Yeah, they're not done. Russians are not done. The Russians have the ability to drive forwards because they're using a conscript army. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk all about that tomorrow morning at 10. Anyway, guys, I'm going to close this down now because the time is getting on. I will be back on tomorrow morning, guys, and it is going to be a Ukraine special. That will be the title. Ukraine War Special. Urgent Ukraine War Special. And I'll give you everything you need to know about the war in Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, if it's war, conflict, tanks, bombs, guns, planes, trains, automobiles, I'm never wrong. I'm not. I don't care. I'm never wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm always right. I always hit the money on the head. Anyway, guys, I'm going to close this down now, and I'll see you in the morning.